Hey guys, so we have the latest episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. entitled Rise and Shine. So, you remember last time that Fitz, well, not really betrayed S.H.I.E.L.D., but sort of betrayed the trust of Daisy and the others by removing the limiter on her powers because he knew that it was the only way that she would be able to compress the gravitonium in order for them to be able to close the tear to the fear dimension. So now, as you might think, Daisy does not trust him at all to use shield resources, even though May does. And amidst all it, in the end, Gemma kind of gives Yo-Yo her arms without him. Not that she doesn't trust Fitz or she's angry at Fitz or anything. She just thinks that it's better off that he have nothing to do with those kinds of things first. So Mac was even asking if it was a good idea not consulting Fitz, considering Fitz was the engineer between the both of them. So later on, Gemma tells Fitz that Deke is actually their grandson. She does so rather, by showing Deke's Swiss knife and his Swiss knife and showing him that they are the same. They both have this number 17 engraving. And she said that Deke said it was given to him by his grandfather. And because of the fact that he's from the future, Fitz put one and one together that he really is his grandson. So the reason she said this is to prove to him that Fitz and Simmons will at least survive together, that things work out well for them at least in the end. But weren't the stories of them from Robin and her crew and the Zephyr from the future enough? Apparently not, but let's see how this goes. So General Talbot was last shot by Daisy Johnson, though it wasn't really her, it was an LMD, and both he and General Hale agreed that it was indeed an LMD, though I suppose that General Hale is still hiding from General Talbot the fact that she actually has Anton Ivanov, the Russian who was in charge of making the LMDs who actually shot him. So he has some sort of brain damage now, and he sort of met Ruby, Dove Cameron's character, the same way that Von Strucker kid did. She was kind of being quiet to him at first, and then later on she got his arm, and General Hale was explaining the history of Hydra, at least from her perspective. I really don't know if I like this or not. They sort of gave Hydra a Harry Potter kind of story, though we do know that S.H.I.E.L.D. has their own universities, has their own schools wherein they teach the new recruits, the new S.H.I.E.L.D. recruits or potential recruits, the skills that they need to know, and that's where Gemma and Fitz have even met each other. This one, though, is not as out there, I guess, because Hydra is actually a much more secret organization than S.H.I.E.L.D., because the type of work they do entitles such a thing. So, she was friends with Agent Sitwell. This kind of all happened 25 years ago, but they were all so young that I have a hard time imagining that it was only 25 years ago. They seem to be teenagers, which would mean that these people are probably in their late 30s or their 40s, though they really look like they could be in their 50s or maybe even early 60s. Anyway, she sort of hit Von Strucker in the face. So they were friends, but they didn't get along on the whole Hydra thing, according to her, in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago rather. But definitely during this whole Harry Potter school-like thing, they were enemies. And Von Strucker was being bred at the start to be a Hydra leader, at least in his time. So in the end, they get placement exams, and Dr. Whitehall seems to be one of the higher officials deciding over these matters, or presiding over the school even. So Dr. Whitehall says that Von Strucker will work on an infuser, something that would give a Hydra member sort of Captain America-like powers, make him or her into a super soldier, and that person would be the next leader of Hydra. And because she was able to beat up Von Strucker physically, Dr. Whitehall saw potential in her, and he assigned her to the Air Force, but more importantly, she was to give birth to the child that would be this new Captain America-like soldier, the new future leader of Hydra. So several years later, much closer to now, General Fisher gave her a project because Gideon Malik was caught and he was about to be arrested because I guess Gideon Malik was either talking or no, they found the data in his hideout about the rest of the Shield of the Hydra rather operations, as we have known Hydra before to have been quote unquote permanently disbanded, though this wasn't the case because General Hale survived. So before committing suicide, because General Talbot was going to arrest him, General Fisher gave her keys to a device for communication to outer space. Hydra had actually made contact with a couple of aliens. They're a small group of races who call themselves the Confederacy. And what's more is that the Confederacy knows of an upcoming war on Earth and can actually help protect the Earth, or at least according to them. But earlier back, General Hale already gave birth to Ruby. She was, as expected, at the top of her class, seen easily beating up everyone else, and was told she was going to be a leader for Hydra. But because General Whitehall died in these near events, the sort of superior who was talking to General Hale a while ago told her that with his death went her sort of mantra for being the new leader of Hydra, and General Hale shot her, saying that whenever you cut off a head of Hydra, there are two that sprout back, and now she and her daughter Ruby are the two heads of Hydra, the two last leaders of Hydra. So they have General Coulson, and Coulson was also aware of the history of Hydra, and she kind of took him to meet this representative of the Confederacy that she talked to last time. She was seen talking to in the last episode. So it turns out that they're not really superiors of Hydra. The reason that he said, of course, Hail Hydra in the last episode, I'm guessing is just probably to, in his mind, respect Earth's traditions or whatnot, because Earth was a race that they were trying to protect, a race whose trust they were trying to get, and they wanted to show the Earthlings, us, that they could play well, and since they were dealing with Hydra agents, he said, Hail Hydra. Hale plans to betray the Confederacy, because like Coulson told her, they could probably betray her at any time. She shouldn't really trust her. And the way she planned to do this was to use Daisy Johnson and the Gravitonium. At first, it was supposed to be Ruby, her daughter, who was supposed to be put in the infuser, but she was kind of having second thoughts about this, maybe saying that she probably couldn't handle the infuser. So now we see that General Hale truly loved her daughter. Either that, or that she really just wanted the future of Hydra to be not a bleak one, though I really think she did love her daughter, because now we're even seeing that General Hale isn't, technically right now, even a bad Hydra operative, because what she wants to do is to save the world. And she thinks that Daisy Johnson is strong enough to be put to the infuser and strong enough to use the Gravitonium to save the world. Of course, Coulson says it's a bad idea and convinces her of the bad future that he's seen. But as you can expect, General Hale did not believe this. I think Coulson needs some sort of proof, and maybe, I'm thinking, Deke will be that proof later on. But she tells Coulson for now that she'll talk to him when he's feeling a bit more reasonable. It's the same thing she told General Talbot when General Talbot did not want to agree to what she was letting him do. I wonder if this has some sort of hidden meaning, or if she just likes saying it, or if it's some sort of other Hydra brainwashing technique, because after all, General Hale was a close pupil of Dr. Whitehall rather, who was very adept in brainwashing. Later on, Ruby consults Coulson. She just says that she wants to know if he really has been to the future. It's not really clear if she truly believes that he has been to the future, or she just wants to say that and all. But her obsession over Daisy Johnson is showing again, especially when Coulson told her that it's Daisy who her mom wants to put into the infuser and not her anymore. So Coulson won't talk, and she brings General Talbot in. And General Talbot was kinda hysterical, telling Coulson that he's sorry for telling her everything. Though I don't know, or I guess I don't remember what everything is, because General Talbot knows of a few S.H.I.E.L.D. bases and whatnot. He knows about Daisy, but not everything about Daisy, so I really don't know what sort of hidden information he could have shared that was so important to General Hale that he and Coulson should be worried about. So, my final thoughts on this is that Hydra might be in charge of destroying the world after all. Of course, since we are dealing with our protagonists in this timeline, we know how the whole writing of the episode goes. Writing of the show goes. The protagonists will win. This time they will get to change their future. Another thing is that future Yo-Yo said that they'll destroy the world trying to save Coulson from death. The death that Coulson is now facing is the curse of the Ghost Rider, the payment that he has to make for being the Ghost Rider from before destroying Ada. So now they have to save Coulson from Hydra. So I'm wondering if that is the death they're trying to save Coulson from and not his sickness of some sort. Also, since the Confederacy showed Agent Coulson the future, the ships coming to invade the Earth, it leaves me wondering if it really is just the Kree or maybe Thanos is coming with them. Maybe there is a possibility for a crossover even with Avengers Infinity War, which is something I will look forward to and something I am hoping for, though right now I do not think that's the case. So what's your thought on all of this? If you like this video, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more great videos.